Hey everybody, I just want to take a second to talk to you about a setting in Zoom. So I know some of us have students in our class who prefer to go by a different name than is the official name on their school record. And some teachers are changing a recommended setting in Zoom to allow this. That actually makes everybody look bad when we do that because we're getting complaints that teacher A allowed me to do this and I could change my name in their class, but when I get to teacher B's class, I couldn't change my name in that class and it's not the name that I go by or prefer or whatever. So here's a fix for that. First of all, in your Zoom settings, I'm here under In Meeting Basic. This allow participants to rename themselves. The default is off and it needs to be off for all your meetings. Otherwise, students can rename themselves before they get into your meeting. It's important when you're setting up your class that the students come into your waiting room with their default name set so you can check them off of the roll and it's not some other student impersonating them. That's the only way you're going to know for sure that this is John Smith and it's not Bob Jones masquerading as John Smith. So what we need to make sure that this setting always stays off. Allow participants to rename themselves. No is the setting that we need for that. So I've started my meeting here and I'm in my meeting. So would be coming to your waiting room. And when they're in your waiting room, that's your opportunity so you can check that that's the student that's in your class, that they're on your roster. You can go down your list, make sure it's the correct students before you let them in. Now, after you let the students in, this is up to you. You can have this discussion with your class that I'll allow you to rename yourselves, but it has to be appropriate. It has to be something that's school appropriate, that I know who you are. Or you may want to just have a conversation with a single student that's having an issue with this in your class. So what you can do, even though I've got that setting turned to no, students cannot rename themselves, I can go here in my meeting to security and I can check rename themselves. And now students will be able to rename themselves in my class for the duration of this class. If you do this, you need to let them know that I'm doing this and I'm setting this as a privilege for this class so that you can rename yourself. When you go into another class, the default setting is that you cannot change your name. We get lots of calls that teacher A lets me do this and teacher B doesn't. So be sensitive definitely to the issues of students that need to rename themselves. But you definitely need to have that conversation with your class if you're going to allow the class, or if not, just send a chat message to that one student, say, okay, you can rename yourself now. Once they've renamed themselves, I believe if you uncheck this again, their names will be locked for the rest of your class. You might need to take a look at that and just be aware of that. So if you turn that off, they won't be able to change their names again. But when they exit your class, when they go to your next class, if they drop and come back in, they're going to come back in with their official default school name. Okay, so that's a fix for that issue.